My people, my people, my people, good morning. This is Smile Jamaica, the greatest morning show in the world, coming to you live from Kingston, Jamaica. And my people, we've been talking about the story. It's been all over the international news. We've mentioned it in our hot topics. And, you know, it's a Windrush generation, and many of our people have been affected. I want you to take a look at this video, and then we'll be joined by the journalist that broke the story as we welcome her to Jamaica. It changed the lives of so many immigrants in the UK, and we want to go into it a little bit more. But take a look at this video. When we come back, we'll meet my friend.
Because we are genuinely sorry for any anxiety that has been caused.
For several months, The Guardian highlighted the case after case of the Home Office brutality towards the Windrush generation. We're now joined by, as I mentioned earlier, Guardian journalist Amelia Gentleman. Amelia, you broke the story in April this year.
Actually, last November. I've been working on it since last November.
Right.
We published story after story in the Guardian, and actually it was about 5 months before there was any political reaction at all. Yeah. It took a really, really long time, which was amazing because these were terrible stories that we were publishing about people who'd been in the UK since children, arrived at the age of 10, lived here for 50 years, and then suddenly, as they approached retirement age, were being told that they were illegal immigrants.
My God.
How were you alerted to the stories initially?
So initially, I had a contact from a charity in Wolverhampton, a small refugee and migrant charity that I'd been in touch with about a different story a few years ago. And they said, you have to come and talk to, or you have to write about one of our clients who's been sent to Yarlswood Detention Centre, which is a really notorious immigration centre where people are sent ahead of being deported. And they said, she's 62, she's been in Britain since she was 10, she's worked all her life paying tax, national insurance, and suddenly, for no reason apparent to anybody, she's been detained. So I went to interview her. Turned out she'd actually even worked in the House of Commons for a while, serving food to MPs. And she'd repeatedly told the authorities, you've made a mistake, I'm British, I've been here all my life. Somehow nobody had believed her, nobody had listened to her, and she'd ended up in detention. She was even driven to Heathrow ahead of being put on a flight back to Jamaica, a country she hadn't visited since she was 10. She hadn't left the country since she was 10. And it was only a last-minute legal intervention that stopped her.
I do remember that story.
Yeah.
And there are many more stories, Amelia.
Many more.
How many more stories are there? How many more cases have you identified?
Well, since then I've spoken to dozens of people who've had really, really difficult situations. People who've been denied healthcare, people who've been made homeless because they've been evicted from their properties, people who lost their jobs because in 2012 the British government imposed really heavy fines on employers who employed anybody who didn't have papers to show that they were correctly in the UK. So I've spoken to dozens of people. When this story became a political scandal in April, the government apologised, as you heard. We've had a lot of apologies.
Right.
But they set up something called the Windrush Task Force, where they've been taking and collecting calls from people who say that they're in that situation. And to date, they've had over 6,000 calls. Wow. And as a result of that, they've given papers to over 2,000 people.
Okay.
So progress is being made.
Progress is being made. But here,
Yeah.
and that is what journalism is. Advocacy, really and truly. You're an advocate. You know,
Right.
you broke the story, and therefore it brought eyes. Otherwise, maybe people wouldn't be looking into it. I want to go into your trip here in Jamaica. It's a Caribbean issue, but a lot of Jamaicans are affected.
Right.
Right? Because you're here now. Why? In Jamaica, because I know as a journalist you are not stopping. You're continuing.
This is not a vacation.
This is not a vacation.
No, so I haven't been to any of the tourist spots.
Oh my God! I'm going to take you so I can get away.
Next time.
But it's investigative journalism, and
So
you have been awarded, and you're here. Why?
So of the 2,000 people who've been given papers so far, about 1,000 of them are Jamaican. So I think of the problem, although it's Caribbean-wide, about half of it, or the majority, relates to Jamaica. I'm here because 10 days ago, the British Home Secretary, Sajid Javid, admitted that the UK government had deported or removed 83 people.
Jeez. 83 Jamaicans?
We don't know if they're Jamaican,
Okay.
but from 83 people under this Windrush category. So I'm here to try and find some of those 83 people. Some of them were forcibly deported. Some of them were told that they had no right to be in the UK and were told they needed to leave. And some of them were refused re-entry,
when they
having
came
come here for funerals or for birthday parties or for holidays.
They just found themselves without a home all of a sudden.
Yeah.
All right. Well, how do they contact you if they are one of these people?
I want to hear from anybody in that situation. We have an email address, which is windrush@theguardian.com. So that's windrush@theguardian.com. Yeah, so if anybody wants to get in touch, I know that for some people it's an embarrassing subject. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want their picture in the paper. That's fine. We can do it anonymously.
Anonymous story, right?
Yeah, but we want to hear from them. And I have, in the past, I've been here since last Thursday.
Yes.
I've met 4 people already in that situation.
That have been affected.
Yeah, and we have one of those stories on our website today about a boxer who'd lived in Britain for 47 years. Wasn't able to return after a break in Jamaica, and for the past 13 years has been basically homeless in Jamaica.
That is terrible.
However, yesterday he got a package couriered to him from the British High Commission in Kingston. 2 days after we interviewed him, he got a package couriered 168 miles from Kingston to Savannah-Lamar, where he's living, with papers to return to Britain.
Oh, good.
So really
happy
ending. Yeah.
Great work so far. So it will be a positive outcome.
Most definitely.
With everything that's happening.
For some people.
But let's talk about the
Not
governments now. What is a commitment from the government in the UK to Jamaica? I know that our Prime Minister has had conversations with Prime Minister Theresa May. Where are we now with that? What are the commitments?
So we've had a lot of apologies. You heard just then an apology from Theresa May. The former Home Secretary, Amber Rudd, has resigned.
Yes.
We have a new Home Secretary who says that he no longer wants to have this hostile environment for immigrants in the UK. However, he's changed the name and it's now called a compliant environment. And actually, the laws haven't been changed. The legislation is the same. So we're really waiting to see whether there will be any practical differences. But there is a compensation fund which is in the process of being developed.
Developed,
And I think
right.
by the end of the year, there
Yes.
will be a way that you can claim for compensation.
I'm going to lead into something else, which I know has been discussed in the UK and governments in the Caribbean and CARICOM are speaking about, and I'm not sure if you've gone into this yet.
Right.
When you talk about compensation, the
Yeah.
conversation of reparations is out in the air right
Yeah.
now. And we always talk about the Queen as a head of state
Yeah.
in Jamaica, and this issue with Jamaicans in Britain, and the Queen as our head of state. I mean, we have a lot of political discussions to have.
Yeah.
What is in the air about reparations and compensation? Have you heard anything on that
Well,
side?
I've heard a lot talked about it here in Jamaica.
Yes.
It isn't something that's particularly high on the political agenda in the UK, but a lot of people have been making this connection that here we've got a Windrush scandal, which in a way is just the final insult after hundreds of years of very poor treatment by the UK of people from Jamaica and the Caribbean.
Interesting.
So the editor-in-chief of The Guardian, that's Catherine Viner, what is her view on the whole Windrush scandal and who to hold accountable?
Well, The Guardian's been amazing. It's given an enormous amount of space to this issue. It recognised right back in November that this was a huge problem,
Or they wouldn't have
a
published
huge
it and
scandal.
gone through with it.
Yeah, and we've been pushing away at it for months when there was really no interest from
Anywhere, not even
from
political,
politicians
right.
particularly. So she's, I suppose, been promoting this as a really important example of how investigative journalism can make changes.
Oh, yeah.
And we're going to keep going at it. And that's why we really do want to hear from more people.
Oh, we're
Really
grateful
hoping-
to you and to her for making sure that this was something, this important topic was actually put out there, and now it's a big focus, and the focus is pointed directly on it. Again, the email for us to contact is windrush@guardian.
Windrush at theguardian.com.
Guardian.com. So if you are out there and you are in this position and you know that you need help, please don't hesitate to contact The Guardian, because you never know, this could be your chance
for repair.
to go to the
Your
home that you know.
Yeah, to be compensated is what we're saying.
Just to be clear, Windrush at theguardian.
Windrush at theguardian.com is the
Thank you.
email.
Thank
UK Prime Minister Theresa May apologized to 12 Caribbean countries, but Jamaica, we can see 50% or so of our people have been affected. We want compensation. An apology is good, but it's never enough. And we want to thank The Guardian for that. You've been awarded for your investigative journalist. I want to congratulate journalism. What was the award? The prestigious Paul Foot Award.
That's
for
right.
investigative and campaigning journalism. Must feel good.
It was really great. But the thing I really want to say is how amazing all of the people who I've spoken to have been, because it takes quite a lot to come forward, have your picture in the paper, say, look at me, I've been told I'm an illegal immigrant. In Britain, there's a lot of hostility around the subject of migration, so it takes an enormous amount of bravery to come forward and say, I'm happy to have my picture and my story in the paper.
The fear of marginalization after you've done that is really high, I suppose.
Yeah.
Good reporting can make a difference.
Oh, it most definitely can. Thank you for bringing light to
I have
that
some
topic.
stories to tell you.
Oh my gosh,
about
she'll
her.
tell you off the air. Thank you so much for stopping
Thanks for
by.
having me.
Thank
It's
you
really, really great to be
for
here. Thank
hunting
you.
down everybody who needs that kind of help. Please, don't be ashamed. Go get some help. She's right here waiting for you. You leave when?
I leave tomorrow, but I'll be back.
She'll be back, and the email address works everywhere. Guardian
But you should ask her if
journalist.
she know any patois.
Lord
You know
have
any
mercy.
patois?
Poor
What? You don't know no patois yet? We have to take it, go eat some jerk chicken.
teach you before you leave. Guardian journalist Amelia Gentleman. We're going for a break.
Yes, girl talk on the other side of this break. Don't go anywhere. Children, you're not at school, so stick and stay. Parents, don't go to work today.
Really? You can pay them? Go on to work.
No.